Some more clarification on the story now, as we're joined on the line by the spokesperson for the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, Ndivhuwo Mabaya. Good afternoon to you and welcome. And why has DIRCO seen fit then to issue this tough statement this afternoon?
Good afternoon. I think the South African public and the government is quite concerned that this violence has started again. It's not for the first time that Israel and Palestine end up where we are now. 17 people have since been killed. A lot of infrastructure has been damaged, including community infrastructure. That's why we thought we might have to come in and also add our voice to say there is a need for an inquiry, because among other things we feel that the force that is being used does not add any value in resolving the issue in that part of the world.
What difference do you think it makes adding South Africa's voice to this particular debate?
You know, we have a number of leaders in South Africa who have links to Israel or Jerusalem. We have our friends in Israel. The South African government and the Israel government have got very strong economic and social ties, and we interact with each other in a number of other platforms. And based on those strong relations that we have, we think that when there is a need for us to say to our friend, maybe you should look at things differently. You will remember that historically we have been able to be invited to some of the initiatives to address the challenges in that part of the world. So our statement or our voice is also an important voice in the world in some of these issues.
As you rightly say, in previous times we have become more involved in this process. I seem to recall in the past that envoys from South Africa have been sent to the region. Would there be any consideration, as far as Pretoria is concerned, to pursue that line again? In other words, to become more involved in a brokering role?
You know, at all times we have always been available to assist in finding a solution between the Palestinians and the Israelis. The government at all times, including our embassy that is there, our consulate that is there, has been involved. So at all times we engage with them. On the point of the envoy, we have not looked at that, but from all other diplomatic platforms that are available, we are engaging with them to ensure that they know how we feel about what is happening. We actually believe that there has to be a peaceful solution that caters for both the countries. And we believe that that can be arrived at a particular point. And this kind of violence does not assist to get them there very soon.
Would South Africa see it within its purview to engage with Israel in this respect? And possibly you are, I don't know.
Yeah, no, we're engaging with them. As I said, Israel has representatives, yes. We have representatives that side, and we have indicated that they must also express our concern about the violence and the death of so many people and the destruction of the infrastructure.
You've lent your support, you've aligned yourself with members of the United Nations calling for an independent inquiry into this particular round of killings. Mr. Mabaya, how would you see that panning out?
You know, the United Nations will have to decide the form and the nature of the inquiry, but we are saying that we need to look at this in its totality. You know, 17 people can't just die and there is no inquiry. We need an inquiry led by a neutral body, in this case is the United Nations, so that we can go to the depth of what has happened so that it does not happen again. Maybe we might, from that inquiry, find or identify some measures we can put in place for early warnings so that we don't end up here. There has to be a time in our lifetime where we can find a peaceful solution between these two nations.
But that inquiry, should it be called by the United Nations, you would also want it to have some sort of punitive conclusion. Your statement says, and I quote, with a view to holding to account those who are responsible.
Yes, there is leadership on the side of the Palestinians. There is leadership on the side of the Israelis, and we believe that leadership in both countries should work or put more effort in finding a solution to the challenge that they are having. And that is why we are saying an independent inquiry must look at all of these. And we believe that an independent inquiry will be able to say what went wrong here, what will not happen again, and then take action from them, or make recommendations.
Just finally, are you able, or do you have any understanding as to whether that inquiry is being discussed at the United Nations, whether there's any move to establish such an organ?
Yes, our representatives at the UN have indicated that a number of countries have been asking the UN to put together this, and I'm sure the UN will take a decision soonest and make an announcement about it.
Ndivhuwo Mabaya speaks for the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsday.